Hi, I'm Jonathan with Raider Computers, and today we're going to be replacing the LCD screen on this Dell Inspiron 155558. So with any laptop, the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the battery if possible. The next thing we're going to need to do is remove this plastic bezel from the screen. And now there are a few different ways you can get it off. And there's several different tools available for this, but I find that an old credit card or a gift card or something like that, if you can get it wedged in there and work it around the screen. And now this screen is broken, so we don't have to be too careful with it. We just don't want to break the bezel. Of course, once you get the new screen put in, you're going to want to be really careful with it. So you kind of just work it around, gently pull on it, so you don't want to break it. Be careful of the area around the webcam, because we don't want to break that. So now the bezel's removed, and we're ready to remove the screws to take off the screen. So the next step is to remove the 4 screws holding the LCD in place. I like to remove the bottom ones first. Once you have those 4 screws removed, you can gently lay the screen down. And then the connector here will be held on with tape, so you'll want to peel the tape back. And then when the tape's peeled back, there's a little clip that pulls up, and then you can carefully unplug the connector. All right, now that we've got the old screen removed, we can set it aside and install the new one. So I purchased this laptop screen from laptopscreen.com. So you carefully lay it in place and do the opposite of how you removed the old one. You may need to take it loose from its holder a little bit to get enough cord. Here's a closer up of what this connector looks like on the back of the monitor. As you can see, this connector here slides into there, and then this metal piece slides down over it, and it latches it in place so it can't come unplugged. And the tape is just there to hold it in even better. So that's a close-up of what that clip looks like. You just push it on. Gently. It's hard to do this without blocking it. There we go. Gently make sure it's plugged in all the way. Push the lever down to lock it in place and then put the tape back over it. And now we're ready to tip up the LCD, line up the mounting brackets on the top and the bottom, and then it's got little pegs that hold it in place until you get the screws in. I like to put the top screws in first so that it will hold it in place. And then if you had to pull the ribbon out to get it to be long enough, be sure it gets pushed back into the clips, holding it out of place of the bezel. Now, I always like to test it and make sure the monitor, the LCD, is functional before I put it back together, before I put the bezel on. So at this point, we are going to plug the battery back in and just make sure that the screen works. All right. If we did everything right, it should come on and work. And it looks like it does. All right, now that we've confirmed that it is fully functional, it will be time to remove the protective film and install the bezel. It's important to remove the protective film before you install the bezel because it will be hard to get a corner of it because the bezel will be covering it up. All right, so now the protective film is removed. Now all we got to do is reinstall the bezel. And it goes on pretty much the same way it came off, but instead of prying, you're just snapping it into place. Just gently work around all the corners, and you can hear the snapping. And I like to fold it down. Make sure everything snaps together right. Then turn it on one last time. And I'm just going to get it into the BIOS so we can see it without actually booting into Windows. And here we go. The computer's ready to go. And I will also mention this laptop has a touchscreen. So when replacing a touchscreen, be sure to test and make sure that the touchscreen is actually working. All right, so now we're finished with this laptop and we're ready to return it to our customer.